Much like our last home game, a much better effort in the second half as we continue to try to find solutions, remedies for the turnovers and whatnot. But overall, I thought we played with a good spirit. We got out in transition. We played much better pace. We were much crisper in the second half. So once again, we're moving incrementally in the right direction.
Anthony?
Message was pretty obvious with the line change early on, but how did you like your guys' response to that?
Well, with us, I think we have a lot of different guys that could be in any lineup, and sometimes it might just be a simply different guys playing well with each other. I just thought that we didn't have much spark. We looked a little bit dazed, and so we just wanted to throw some guys in there and see if they bring some fire and spark, and they did that. Every game, we all have a different role. Our jobs might be a little bit different night to night, and that second group did a nice job of giving us a spark.
Tony?
You talk about balance and how different guys can lead you different nights, but I guess 7 guys with 8 or more, I guess, how useful is that?
I'll be honest, it's tough. We want to play with such pace. We want to play with such great tempo. We want our guys to crash. We want to get 5 on the glass, and then we want to spur back in transition and be stingy on the defensive end. And so it's tough to play 35 minutes, especially when our staff, we're not controlling each possession. We're not holding it up, giving our guys 6 or 7, 8 seconds to catch their breath while we run a set. And so we typically play more than most teams do, but we're stretching our rotation now as we're trying to figure out who's going to be in the rotation and who's going to be more of a specialty guy, where tonight they need this, so I might get some minutes, but I have to stay ready. So we're trying to figure it out, but we do have a lot of weapons, as you see, night in, night out. I thought Namari Burnett was sensational tonight. In the second half, Trey Donaldson, he really jumped out. But yeah, we have a lot of guys. Like I said from the beginning, we have several players that could be our best player on any given night.
Charles?
Yeah, you said that Trey kind of jumped out in that second half. You also kind of fueled that first half run. What did you see from him?
Just him pushing tempo. We haven't created well off the bounce. We've driven into bad spacing at times. We haven't opened up gaps well enough. We're still trying to figure out the best way for us to play, but I thought Trey was able to get to the rim. I thought he played on balance. He's strong enough to finish through contact. I just thought his decision-making was very sound. As you see, 4 assists to 1 turnover, and he had the ball in his hands a lot, and I think he led us in minutes as well. So very, very, very sound effort by him tonight, but most importantly, just when he's pushing tempo at that pace, it's tough to match up with us because we have so many shooters, and our bigs can put pressure on the rim as well.
Tom?
Yeah, Dusty, from the Wake game to the TCU game to the Miami game, what excites you the most? What keeps you awake at night?
I think the thing that excites me and our staff the most is that we don't feel like we're playing very well up to our standards. We don't feel like we're playing anywhere nearly as well as we're going to. And so that's what makes it exciting, that we have such a high ceiling with this group. And so we've got to push different buttons, better buttons. And what keeps me up at night is the same thing that it's been the theme from day one. They only got 8 offensive rebounds tonight. And with our size, we're the 6th biggest team in the country. So we have to be a dominant defensive rebounding team. And then if we just don't give them easy baskets because of our turnovers, and our pace will improve, our decision-making will improve. We just got to stay the course and be patient, yet being aware of what needs to be fixed.
Keller?
You talked highly of both Burnett and Donaldson. Do you see a little bit of chemistry forming between the 2 of them? It seemed like they played really well off each other, especially in transition in that second half.
I think so. I thought Roddy found some creases in the second half. I don't know if it's those 2 have found chemistry or not. They're in together typically. They're both playing really well. I think if you put either one of them in that other group, they'd probably be playing very similarly. But yeah, they've obviously complemented each other very well. Look at the 3-point efficiency. They go 7 for 11 combined. They're looking for each other. They're making the simple play more times than not. So that's usually a recipe for success if you have a talented roster. You know, there's times when you just don't have enough. You don't have enough horses, and you need a guy to go take some chances and make some plays. With our group, I think we can simply take what the defense gives us every night and find enough baskets to be competitive and be in position to win.
Andrew?
Yeah, subbing out the starters. I mean, it came after the 4th turnover. Was it simply that, or was there some effort?
It just was a feeling. It was just, hey, let's get these next guys in there and give them a shot, see if they can start a spark. It wasn't as if all 5 of the first 5 we're not playing hard or playing lazy or anything like that. It was just the feel, the urgency wasn't there, and sometimes the second unit, their job is to come in and simply provide that spark. And then obviously there's 5 players on the court at a time, so sometimes 1 or 2 maybe have a miscommunication and the other 3 are affected by it. But that's the beauty of our team. We have unselfish guys. I think they trust each other, they believe in each other, and so I thought everyone contributed to this win.
And then the turnovers, I haven't counted yet, but there are a fair number of traveling violations. Are there things being called differently than you expect, or guys just traveling?
By the book, by definition, they were traveling, and that's also part of in college basketball. You have to adjust each night to how the game's being called, and a couple of those you move your pivot foot an inch or 2, and it's a difference in a turnover or a basket because you have the backdoor cut. Those are the ones we can live with. There's a few of them. I mean, even the throw aheads to Vlad, we didn't convert them, but if he catches them, they're layups or dunks, and those are always going to be the ones we're going to be able to live with. The ones where we hit them in the chest, hit the other team in the chest, those are the ones that we have to fix immediately because that's whatever that is. That's not a recipe for success.
In the back with Luke.
Yeah, what would you say, Coach, your identity is right now for Michigan basketball, and where do you want it to be?
The first part of the question, I'm sorry?
What would you say your identity as a team right now is of Michigan basketball, and where do you want it to be, and what do you want it to be?
Well, it's funny you said that because I was speaking to a coaching friend, a very, very successful coaching friend / mentor this morning or last night, I can't remember. And I told him that. I said, I don't feel like we have an identity yet on either side of the basketball. And his response was, you're not supposed to. You're 4 games in, you have a new team, you have to win in the margins now, you have to figure this stuff out. You may not have an identity until conference play. So what do we want it to be? A team that takes care of the basketball, that really, really plays for each other, that they cut for each other, they screen for each other, they pass to the open man, and they play with the incredible amounts of passion and tenacity. And so usually, we're easy to please if we're playing extremely hard and we're very, very connected as a group. We can live with the mistakes. Maybe we can't live with them. As we're getting to the point, maybe we can't live with them. But we're going to keep fighting the good fight and keep getting better every day. And no team is going to be perfect this time of year. So once again, it comes down to can you fix your issues and solve the problems. If we're still doing this in January, February, then we haven't done a very good job as a staff.
But
Seemed like a couple guys that were doing the little things right. Sam Walters, we know what he can do as a shooter, but it seemed like he made some plays outside of that. And then Pippen, 2 drawn charges, and then the block on the 3-pointer. What did you see from those 2?
I thought Pippen really hustled. He's starting to get in game shape. He's starting to look more comfortable. And as far as Sam, they're glued to him, so it's tough to get him a shot. And he's not strong enough to knock guys off of him. So we just challenged him to be a screener and a rebounder and do the dirty work. And he did. He had 2 or 3 straight possessions where he impacted the game other than shooting the basketball. When he's on the court, he's helping the other 4 players because he's being face guarded at all times, and the help is different. So we're essentially playing 4-on-4 when he's in. And so when they're playing him like that and we can't find him and we can't get him open, then he has to be a good screener and try to get his teammates some easy baskets, and then hopefully over time it'll loosen up for him.
5 turnovers for Danny tonight seems like it's been a recurring issue for him. What have you seen in that area, and what do you think needs to be fixed?
Well, tonight I thought the first 3, and this is just off memory, I thought the first 3 weren't really his turnovers. Namari cut was wide open and just didn't look at the right place. And if Namari looks up, and Namari had a heck of a game, other than that, I thought he was really, really good. But if he looks up, Namari catches it and has a dunk, and it's a great play. And so we're still figuring that out. And I can't remember what the other 2 are off. One was a pass to Vlad. I don't remember if it hit the net first or if it went through Vlad's hands or whatever the case. Those 2 decisions were exactly what we've asked him to do. He's looking at the right things, and now we just have to clean a few of those areas up.
got time for a couple more. We'll go.
The ones in the second half, though, I'm going to let Danny answer for those.
Go ahead, Ian.
You've talked in the past and a little bit today about over-penetration. Have you seen any improvement from that, and what do you want to see in lieu of the over-penetration?
I thought we made progress tonight. I thought there were only a few times when we dribbled into bad spacing. And so we've improved, and we're becoming more aware of it. And part of it, too, is we're still trying to figure out what is our competitive advantage in half court once the game slows down. And so as a staff, we'll do a better job of putting our guys in position to be successful as we learn these guys better. And see what they can do in certain situations. But once again, it's a cumulative effort. The staff, the players, we all have to do a better job of being more conscious. But there are times when we simply just don't meet the passes, and our fundamentals aren't sound enough. And the way I look at it, if there's one guy doing that, it's on him. If it's several not doing it well, then it's on me and us, and that's something we're going to fix, because there are several guys not meeting passes. So that's something that we obviously haven't stressed or worked on enough, and we will going forward.
We'll go two more with Kellen and then Meg.
Last time we heard from you, you talked about the growing pains of being a freshman guard in college basketball. Kaysen had 11 points tonight. Were you happy with the way that he was able to bounce back after the performance on Friday?
Yes, I thought he did some really good things. For him to get 11, 3, and 2 in a positive plus minus in 16 minutes. And he's learning also, when you're playing against these high-level shooters, that you have to close out with much more urgency than maybe you've had to in practice at times, or whatever the case, or you had to in high school. So it's part of the learning process. He's a good player. He does a lot of things that coaches can't teach. He's got a great feel for the game. He's one guy that can create off the bounce and get in seams. So he's got a different element to it. He adds a different element to our team. But yeah, there's just certain things that you just have to learn by going through it as you follow college basketball. The teams that play a lot of freshmen, typically these things happen. But he wants to get better. He'll be in tomorrow to watch his film and work on his game and everything else. So we want to fix it all tonight, but that's just not realistic. And I'm not a very patient person by nature, so I'm working through that.
Second half, you started out on a 23-9 run, and then you ended up out rebounding them at 14. Why do you think you're able to make those big adjustments, and why are players able to hit the glass more in the second half?
I thought we were much more determined on the glass in the second half. Vlad got several rebounds out of his area. Danny Wolf is running in there, and if they don't carry them over our heads, we're so big. Like I said, we're the 6th biggest team in the country, so if they're not long rebounds, we should get 95% of them in our minds. I think it's just a much more determined effort. Once we got a few baskets to go in, we felt better about ourselves, and we know that if we grab that rebound, we're tough in transition. As you see now, it's starting to become a theme where we make a transition 3 and the other team burns all their timeouts to simply try to stop our runs. That's something we've faced a lot the last few years, so it's a credit to our guys when we do rebound, how quickly we change ends of the floor. Now there are times when we didn't change ends quite so fast on the defensive end, but that's the game was already out of reach at that time.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.